This fucking city, Am says as he returns from the bathroom. What's wrong? Reggie asks as the avowed nerd sits down with a stunned expression. I just got past a data chip because I apparently must be the contact of the flowing order to wet my hair before going to urinate, then wash my hands. Thrice with water, you see, to cleanse, to sully, then cleanse again. I was early C, so the teenager made of slime didn't have much time to slither out of the walls and greet me properly. But my slapping away her tentacle in a mild panic was apparently the secret handshake. He explains in a hushed tone, and the other men just stare at him. He pulls out a data chip, similar to the one Koa got. We stumbled onto 3 by accident. Koa notes in a deadpan tone. Yep. Reggie notes as he sticks the bookmark into the novel and tucks it into his jacket pocket. He'll get back to it when reality is less absurd than the book. We've stumbled almost literally dick first into these. Want to see how many we can suss out before getting back to the Dauntless? It'll give the boys in intelligence something more entertaining than just worrying themselves into circles. Am asks, and the other 2 look baffled at the idea. Yes, but we'd have to somehow bumble our way into more, Reggie says as the door opens. The figure then rushes to their table, a cloaking as her features keep shifting ever so slightly. What a melange for a face, Am says, and she nods. The crackle marks the spark. She says, leaning over with her fists on the table. Clipped wires will do that. Reggie notes, and she nods, before standing up and leaving a data chip behind. Son of a bitch, he notes as Am starts shaking from holding in the laughter. My money says it's a sabotage-based conspiracy. Koa notes as Reggie pockets the chip. Suckers bet and you know it, Reggie remarks. All right, we've got your feast ready, boys. I hope you all brought your appetites. Jenny the waitress exclaims with a beaming smile as she brings in all 3 of their plates and the pitcher of water all at once. I'll be back with the glasses in a moment, she says after plopping down the massive amount of roast potatoes, shanks of what smells like lamb and what are clearly shrimp right in front of Reggie, who's already borderline drooling. A heaping plate of curly fries in front of Am and a massive stack of waffles dripping with extra thick syrup in front of Koa. You're a treat, Jenny, Am says, as she comes back with the glasses, and she nods with a wink before bouncing off. I think I just gave her another countersign. I think she's doing some kind of allure or enchantment bit of woo-woo with the axiom, Reggie says, watching her bounce back into the kitchen to grab another order. Oh yeah? What's it doing? Koa asks as he saws one of the waffles in half with the toothier butter knife that the locals use, followed by the 2-tined fork to lever it into his mouth. Wow, that's sweet. He notes before shrugging and shoving the other half in. Fries seriously need a salting, but are otherwise good, Am says as he pulls out a cylinder with a large number of small cartridges on it. Camping shaker. These things will become freaking standard issue with troopers soon. He explains, popping open a couple of tabs and seasoning his plate. Ah, perfect. Are neither of you concerned about the fact that we may have an enchantress wrapped up in a conspiracy that gave you that food? Reggie screams at the 2 men. Dude, you just came out of massive healing and are young again. Particularly, you got your balls back, Am notes as he chomps down on his fries. What does that have to do with anything? Reggie demands. What is the baseline human? What do you get if you look at nothing but the DNA? Am asks him, and he glances to the left as he thinks, before a look of disgust crosses his face. It might be enchantment. It's a possibility in this weird and wacky galaxy, but I'm not sensing a thing, and I've been going into illusions and such for my learning. I think I would sense one. But you've learned to be disgusted, but your body has wants. Am remarks, and Koa starts choking at the sheer look of horror and disgust on Reggie's face. Am helpfully pushes the man's water closer to him. That's vile, he says, and Am shrugs. I said it's a want, not a need. Imagine that, though. Someone morally disgusted at something they need to, or right. Anorexics are a thing. Am starts before trailing off and chomping on a few fries. I am not an anorexic. Of course not. You're asexual. It's gross for you, so don't do it. But a healthy body, unfortunately for you, lusts for the opposite gender. Ever say that to a gay man? Reggie challenges him. The whole point of lust, from an evolutionary point of view, is to propagate the species. Like hunger keeps a creature alive through nourishment. Your hunger goes wrong and you get massive gluttony, similar to a nymphomaniac or a pervert, or you get anorexia, which is similar to an asexual or a gay person. You're still capable of getting all the emotional points on things and living a good life, but you can't deny that your natural urges destroy your family line with you. An evolutionary dead end, no offense. I'd say none taken, but that speech wasn't for me, was it? Reggie asks. I had a cousin come out as a non-gendered they-them-whateverist with no urges, and they threw a fit when I told them to get professional help. Never got to really finish things up with them before the mission. A burned bridge back home that he's trying to cross with me. Should I be flattered or insulted that I might rate cousin in his head? He considers. Well, maybe if you weren't such a dick about it. That speech was awful, Reggie says as he takes a bite of the shrimp and nearly moans in delight. Unseasoned or no, it's amazing. This thing must have been alive when it was thrown in the pot. I'm on the nerd squad for a reason. Half the time when I'm not talking, I'm mentally planning how to respond to people so I don't sound like a sociopath. If things come off the cuff, then they're to the point or psychotic sounding, not much middle ground either. Fine, whatever. Just don't push too hard and I won't give a shit. I'm not under a spell, Reggie asks Am, who shakes his head, and there's no poison. What I've got in this shaker is as hard as anything they'll throw at you. Am replies, holding it out, and Reggie takes it, finds salt, pepper, and garlic powder, and sprinkles some on his roast potatoes. Good, he says, handing the camping shaker back and tucking into his food. The potatoes gets his attention first, as he wants the painful hole in his gut filled, and it's not till he's half done that he goes at the alien lamb shanks. He nods a bit and makes some gestures at Am, who correctly interprets it as a request for the shaker. Salt and pepper improve the bland shanks and are kept close at hand rather than passed back. The conversation falls away as all three men focus more on eating, with Am taking things the slowest, as both Koa and Reggie are hungry enough to gorge. The feast of three shall see the rise of the glutton. Lady, I'm hungry, Reggie says as the cloakin caught him between bites. We all a hunger, she replies, and Am decides to stir the pot. For justice, he states, and a data chip is tossed in front of him, and the cloakin can be heard walking away. We're not even looking for this shit yet, and it's falling into our laps, Koa remarks with amusement as he's scraping the bottom of the plate after eating at a fast clip. You know what? Why don't we just head back to the ship and see how many of these things we stumble into on the way there? Reggie offers, before shoving half an alien potato into his mouth and chewing hard. Fine, you boys finish up. I'll pay. Am says as he stands up and casually grabs the last couple fries to munch on his way to the cash register. A Nagasha woman slinks down from above. Trine to duos. To unos? Koa asks, and she nods before tossing a data chip at him and slithering away into the ceiling again. You know, when most people think big city nightlife, it's normally clubs and bars. Not so many conspiracies that a thrown rock would hit 5 different cults, Reggie notes wryly. Galaxy is a wide, weird place, Koa returns before going back to his last waffle. Am returns to the table with a big kiss mark on his cheek. Story now. Tips are relatively unknown around here, and it's seen as my flirting. She liked it, he says, tucking a scrap of paper with her number on it into his pocket. So does that mean you'll be bringing home the 4-armed Playboy bunny as a bed warmer? She's in a cult. I don't do crazy. You're plenty crazy, Reggie remarks. You know what I mean, asexual or not. Snaps back as he sits down and grabs his camping shaker. Oh, that reminds me, he says before reaching into his jacket and pulling out some multivitamins. He swallows a pair and chases it down with the water left in his glass, and then passes it to Koa and Reggie, who do the same. Thank you, Reggie says before he eats his last half potato. Koa's already finished, all but a little bit of sugar tar left on his plate, and they all get up. Let's get to the Dauntless before someone's tied to an altar and sacrificed. We should be safe. From what Jenny implied, we're being mistaken for message runners. Not cult members, but those that pass the notes around. How'd she do that? I'm cute for a hired messenger. Am replies, and the other two snort in amusement. They wrap up and quickly leave the diner with Jenny blowing Am a kiss that he returns to the teasing of the other men. Their pace is slow and indulgent as Reggie needs to get his newly remade guts to work for the first time, and there was a lot of sugar in Koa's meal. "So what's living in this block?" Koa asks, nodding his head to the building on their left, and there's a chuckle. The Society of the Searing Sword. Martial adepts who specialize in plasma blades to cut away the rot of society, Am offers. No. It's the way of veiled strength Reggie begins. "The dance starts at the turning of the day," a Tret woman says, passing them by. "Which is in the blackest night," Reggie responds, and the woman shakes his hand before buggering off. "Son of a bitch, you called it," Am says with a wide smile. "I'm definitely leaning towards loving this city. Not so much a tangled bag of snakes as a damn serpent boulder just rolling along and gathering more slithery idiots," Koa remarks with a laugh. "We're going to have to be careful not to get caught up in it while we poke this mess." "Not sure if we can stop from poking it at this point as it's poking us," Reggie says before shrugging and pocketing the data chip he'd been handed in the handshake. "True. Let's get moving before we're used in a ritual or something," Am suggests, and all three men start hustling towards the Dauntless some 100 levels above them. They collect another 23 data chips from different conspiracies on the way.